Dylan Butler coming in right after the end of Germany and Japan.
Yeah.
Man's timing is impeccable. And we've got folks who are mentioning already on the show this morning here that the competition that is going on overseas is officially drunk. What say you,
sir? Can it be? There's no beer sales.
Absolutely true. That is absolutely true.
But, no, it's been great, right? Like, it's all about the upsets. You've had some good, other matches as well, obviously, but you need a few of these big upsets to really to send those shockwaves, right? And to get that MLS After Dark feel a little bit, right? So, and perhaps with the 30 minutes of stoppage time for each match, it is a little bit MLS After Dark, right? So,
oh my God, does that not drive you crazy? I mean, the mandate, though, the mandate from FIFA, they said that they said specifically that we want our center refs to take care of the time that needs to be added and all those kinds of things. They want them to take care of that. But all right, so since you've gone there, let's go back. Head injury in one of the matches in the Iran match.
Yeah.
And you have the first analysis by the Iranian doctors and physios, which took forever. I think I actually got to go upstairs, make breakfast, come back down, and be ready as they were trying to analyze things. Then you have the club captain for Iran take his water bottle, squirt it in his goalie's face. I mean, literally, it was like one of those super soaker deals. He just kind of takes the water bottle and goes doink and sprays the keeper in the face, trying to get him to snap out of whatever he was in. And he's deemed to be okay. Then he hits one outlet pass, I think like a 45-degree angle, and it got to the center line. And then coming back the other way, you end up with a mad rush, and it ends up being an opportunity that didn't score a goal. But then 5 minutes later, keeper goes back down, and he's done. 14 minutes of added time in the first half because of this incident alone that I don't think should have happened in the first place. It should not have gotten as far as it did.
No, of course it shouldn't have. You wish that the medical personnel that you trust in these situations, make the right call, make the right decision immediately, right? Like, don't leave it up to the goalkeeper. And can you imagine if he didn't decide to take himself out, right? Like, how much worse could that situation have been? So, I feel like a World Cup kind of a situation kind of shows you the range a little bit in terms of, where we are with concussion protocol, where other nations are lagging, I guess, right? So you wish it was a universal thing, especially at a World Cup. Clearly it's not, though. So, that was certainly disappointing. But also other stoppages too have been strange, right? Like, you get the mandate that if there's a head injury, you stop.
Yeah.
But even in the U.S. Wales match, how many times did we see, a leg injury and then a stoppage? Like, it didn't really make any sense, right? Like, or an alleged injury, right? Like, so you play on just like it happens here, and even in CONCACAF. And who would have thunk you'd have been like, man, CONCACAF is all right, compared to what we've been doing.
Yeah, no doubt.
But those are also weird, right? Like, I don't get those. Like, play on, wait. If your guy is hurt and you want to play the ball out, then fair play to you. But that shouldn't be an official's decision unless it's a head injury.
Yeah. So we've had that already so far in this tournament, and you're screaming at the television, going, yo, dude, let him go. But I don't know. To your point, it's like those of us who are used to seeing head injuries and treatments and such, and the care that's supposed to be given to these athletes in this case, 24 minutes of stoppage time in England and Iran because of substitutions, injuries, 10 minutes in the second half, 14 mostly attributed to the injury to the starting keeper for Iran in the first half. When it comes to everything else that we've seen so far, it was described that Saudi Arabia's win over Argentina in March Madness parlance was a 1 versus a 16.
Yeah.
Was it that, or was it even deeper than that? What was it? Was it Appalachian State beating Michigan? Was it of an FCS?
Yeah, I mean, like, I didn't have Argentina winning it.
Okay,
but I did have them like I think I had them losing to Brazil like in whatever round that is, like
that would be semis. I think.
semis.
Yeah, I have Argentina winning because I want Lionel Messi going out on top, but I think it would be a semi if it's Argentina Brazil.
Yeah, so I had Brazil beating them, but still I had them going far. Not that they certainly can't now, but yeah, I mean, I think we probably do need to put a little respect on the mid-major that is or the minnow that is Saudi Arabia, right? Like the NEC team or whatever.
There you go.
The MIAC.
The Ryder Broncos.
The MAC.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, hey, and you know what? What is funny? Like you see these two results now, back-to-back days where Argentina and Germany go down. And suddenly, like I think Greg Berhalter's like in his hotel, like I told all you guys, those results in the tournament lead up weren't so bad, were they? Between Saudi Arabia and Japan, like Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I think it's judged a little bit on what happens going forward, right? Does Saudi Arabia get a result in their next match? Do they find a way to get through? What does Argentina do? Like I feel like these results. The true question about these two teams, I think, gets answered as we continue on in the group stage.
Yeah. So with what happened with the USA and Wales, what were some of your takeaways with that particular game?
Yeah. I had the rare occasion to be an observer, like a watcher. I actually went to into Queens, back in the Queens, went to Woodside, to like an Irish pub, Sean Oggs, with my buddy Jack, and it was funny because they had like one of those what did we say during the season, the rivalry week sponsor.
Yes.
So they were having a little like thing there, with scarves, and would you like some of our
Red Star beer-based scarves?
I said no, sir, no,
yeah!
sir. I'm going American. I had a little Sam, some Sam. What did I have? I had the Wicked Ale. Okay. I went with a burger. Like I had to go all American, baby. Like I wasn't. We weren't going anything other than American there. But yeah, no. So I think my takes are probably very similar to everybody else's. Like first half, on the ball and pushing forward on the front foot, excited about that. Disappointed in set pieces and the deliveries that Pulisic had there. The first one, I think it was a free kick, and then like he doesn't get it past the first defender. Then it was a corner. He doesn't get it past the first post. Goal happens. Great goal, fantastic moment. And then I remembered saying to my buddy Jack, I said, if they could just get one more before the half, like before Wales could regroup, they'll be in really good shape. And they just lack that decisiveness, right? Like that killer maybe instinct a little bit, to go after that second goal. And obviously, look, the tactical change that Wales makes, they are on the front foot in the second half, and all of a sudden, it's one-way traffic the other way. So disappointed in the result, but ironically, I think probably pre-tournament you're not so upset, right? Because you're maybe thinking if you get a draw against Wales, maybe you can get a draw against England, and then you get the win against Iran.
5 points and you're through.
Probably get through.
Yeah.
But obviously 1-0 the way that it was, you need to get that win. I was disappointed in Zimmerman, certainly with that challenge, but when you look at the analysis afterwards, you're like, it was just a really crafty play by Bale, right?
Yeah.
Like, you've got to give him that credit. And
John Thorrington knew what he was doing.
And my first, literally, the instant reaction to his PK was when I saw Turner dive. I thought he got a piece. I mean, he did get.
Yeah, he did. You heard
I
it.
thought he saved it. So I was like, yeah. Oh, it was. So yeah, thoroughly disappointed to come away with that. I was saying at that moment, really throughout the second half, I was telling sorry, to go back, I liked the 11.
Okay.
I liked Ream there, especially with his connection with Jedi Robinson. I didn't have any issues anywhere else either. I liked Sargent up there, even though he really didn't do much, right? I liked him, having, with Wales, so many of their players playing, Premier League and Championship, and he has that experience as well. So I like that in the first match, and where there were likely to be more combative duels, right? But then it was the substitutes, right? Like I was saying, Aronson should have come on, and he did. Mm-hmm. And I said, obviously, Reyna should have come on. I thought for Weah at the time, just again as a guy who can give you that killer, because we knew that Wales was pressing forward, so now you can hit him in the counter, and Gio's so dangerous in that sense. So, I had a very long ride back to Long Island.
Yes.
With the time of the game, unfortunately. So it was like, an hour coming in and about an hour 45 going home. Mm-hmm. So a lot of time to digest the result, and you listen to Sirius XM and the callers, and you're hearing the explanations about Gio. So, maybe some tightness, or, I will give Berhalter the benefit of the doubt there. Yeah. He's not just going to go to Morris. Look, clearly Reyna is a better option, right? Like when healthy. So
yes, when healthy.
So yeah, those were kind of like my wide ranging thoughts on the draw.
All right. So then on Friday, then I've heard that there's this match against this England team.
Yeah.
What are you looking at in this one? Obviously, folks are sitting there saying, okay, if Gio wasn't able to go in the first one, hopefully you're saving him for the final two, where he starts and gives you 90 against England, 90 against Iran, because you're probably going to need it against Iran, considering that Iran is the rock that every wave bashes itself up against in this group, that whoever scores the most and gets your most goal difference and probably mitigate your damage against England is going to be your number two. What do you think about the colonists going up against the monarchy on Friday?
Yeah, and the day right after Thanksgiving, right? When the pilgrims and that, yeah. I mean, it's look, it was always going to be a tall task, and then you kind of see England do what they do in the first match, like, oh-ish, right? Like,
yeah, it was an oh-ish moment, definitely.
This is going to be even harder than maybe we thought it would be. And it's funny because, you start to rationalize, well, maybe they'll rotate. Okay, well, who are they going to rotate in then, right? Like, the other Premier League fantastic players, right? So, it's not like, you're getting, you're losing Harry Kane and you're getting like Gillingham's best striker. So, Scunthorpe United's best, midfielder isn't on this squad either. So
up the iron, sir. Exactly.
So yeah, it's going to be difficult. You would like them to now I'll say this. it feels like when the U.S. is underdog,
Right.
Whatever the situation is. I mean, Gold Cup final, Nations League final. Like, these are situations where Mexico, right? They were the favorites, clearly, right? Because it was their first choice, right? Largely in those matches, and it was like rotated different squads in those. I feel like when U.S. at Mexico at the Azteca in World Cup qualifying, like, they seem, knock on wood, to show up in those situations.
Right.
So you hope that's the case here as well. I would like to see Aaronson start the match. I gotta think McKennie has to be on some sort of a minutes combination limit, right? Like in the first two matches, like, he could play 120, so maybe it's 25 minutes, last 25 minutes he comes on possibly, but I think this is a match for Aaronson for sure. If for no other reason, you've got that combination with Adams in the midfield, very much like you had with Ream and Jedi Robinson in the back. He's played against these guys before, and I think he's going to be that guy to push the pace. Like, what I love about Aaronson is he does not care.
No,
like, he's going at you. He doesn't care who it is, and that's that mentality that I think you want. I think Gio Reyna brings that same mentality. So if he's healthy, I want to see him in there as well. You could spell him with Weah again for the last 30 minutes, possibly, right? You combine their minutes a little bit. And then in the midfield, like, I'm not sure, right? Like, I thought Adams was fantastic, right? Probably the man of the match for me. I thought Musah and McKennie were below maybe what we thought they would be in a match like that, right? So I've got no problem subbing in Aaronson for McKennie. I'm not sure if there's a better option for Musah. Like, obviously Kellyn Acosta came in and delivers the foul of the tournament.
Oh yeah, you ain't kidding, brother.
But yeah, I would say certainly for me at least, those are two changes I would make.
Best foul ever for Kellyn Acosta, because Gareth Bale was getting ready to hit the launch codes on that one.
Yeah.
There was something else that was incredibly insightful. Since it is a Wall Pass Wednesday,
yes.
Emilio was born in Woodside. He wants to know if Shelley's is still open.
Yeah, I think I know where that is, and I want to say no.
Okay.
This is going to be like probably just for me and Amelia. I don't know how many others are watching this going to get this, right? But like,
it's Long Island down here.
So Cuckoo's Nest was my go-to place, man. That place was amazing. Great food, great atmosphere. I was there for a few different World Cups. My wife and I, we actually had our rehearsal dinner there. So very close to our hearts. They're gone. There's like some sort of like strange cocktail bar there. They weren't even open. Then my second option would have been another Irish pub called Saints and Sinners. That recently closed as well. So I was like on my third choice center back type of thing. It was fine. It was good. Like, it was better. I've been in Oggs before. Now I'll say this: I've not seen. I think it was the second World Cup match I've seen there that the U.S. played, and I've not seen them win. I think I saw them lose to Ghana there. I think that wasn't the group stage loss. That was the knockout stage loss. So I've not seen him win there yet, but it worked out. Like it was a good spot. But yeah, no, there's a lot of changes going on around Woodside. So it's unfortunate to see those two pubs close its doors.
Okay, so I use that kind of as a transitional element.
Okay,
because Ricky, what's the commentary around the league to the Garth Lagerwey news? Garth Lagerwey leaving Seattle coming to Atlanta as president and CEO. What have you heard? What's the vibe, Dylan?
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know if it's a big shocker, right? Because we heard this even I would say in the final quarter of the season, right? That was going around. That was a possibility. That was talked about. I think as soon as Eels left, there was that talk of Lagerwey, right? So, not surprised in that sense, and I think it's a fantastic move by Atlanta, right? Like, this is a guy. Now, again, he doesn't do it. He doesn't do it on his own, right? And he's smart enough. He's not taking credit for the successes that he's been a part of, but he's been very good about having a solid team around him. Mm-hmm. You know, and he built that first, or really the only, I guess you'd say, juggernaut out of Real Salt Lake, right? The team that went to the Champions League final, and then obviously look what he's done with Seattle, right? As well. So I think, you know, there's few in the league in his position who know the league better than he does. He's obviously got a penchant for winning, and you know, he also obviously has worked with Pineda in the past, so there's already a synergy there. So for Atlanta, I love it. I think it's a no-brainer for them. I guess the only question was whether or not he would leave Seattle and that comfort zone. But at the same point, I'd imagine, right? Like, you know, he said out, and it was around this time, probably last year, we're going for the Champions League. Fine, we're going. Our aspirations are to win the Champions League, right? And it wasn't just words. Like, he made sure he set that into motion. So to be able to deliver that, and again, it's a guy who just failed on that at Salt Lake when they had a lead going into the second leg going into back when it was Rio Tinto. So I think he's probably feeling I've accomplished everything I could accomplish at Seattle, right? I've won MLS Cups. We won the Champions League. And now it's an opportunity to go to another one of the league's biggest clubs, right? Who there's a lot of similarities between Seattle and Atlanta. You know, not just obviously in the stadiums that they play and the connections with the NFL teams, but also in their willingness to spend and their fan bases as well. So I think it's going to be a similar situation for him as he heads southeast.
And at the same time, it's a situation where, and Seattle is a different animal. We know this. They have the general meeting with everyone who has a vote, and you can vote on a yearly basis, I believe, as to whether or not you can renew contracts for certain individuals. So yes, he was renewed. No, there wasn't a quorum, but he got 90% of those that were there. And so, yes, that's great, but you don't have the same kind of review process. You have more freedom. You have a contract. You have a set number of years. You have more power as president and CEO, and you don't have that yearly renewal process where, you know, you could sit there and think that you did well, but if the vote doesn't come your way from those who are in voting power in Seattle, then you're out of a job. You get to leave that to the side and come to a place where, once again, you can create something and build the way that you want to build it.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's yeah. And in that sense, it's the most unique setup in the league, right? Seattle for that. So it's funny too, because it comes right on the heels of him gaining that confidence, right, and winning that vote. So as he should have been. So yeah, that is interesting. But yeah, I think it's a fantastic move by Atlanta. You know, it's I think it's needed for sure.
All right. So in the time that you have left, viewing habits today, obviously we have a couple of other matches. Are you the kind of guy that'll get up at 5 a.m. to watch a match?
I was at one point. With a kid and getting ready for school, and then like work. It's gotten a lot harder. So funny story for you. Back in the day, so the U.S. Mexico knockout round match, right? So in my earlier life, I was a newspaper reporter for like a chain of. I started out at a chain of weekly papers in Queens, of course, right? Where else? And every 4 years it would be, because it is the world's borough, go to different places and experience the World Cup with that fan base.
Mm-hmm.
So, whether it was the Argentines at like the Boca Juniors bar, or the Germans, whatever it was. So, in that situation, and that was, I want to say, like one of those 4:30 matches or 2:30 matches. Like definitely was the middle of the night in Korea. I watched the match with Carlos Llamosa's family.
Okay.
So Carlos Llamosa, was a Queens guy. He obviously played. He had that connection, and it was funny. It was a Spanish broadcast. Like everyone was speaking Spanish. I was in Corona, right? Like in their apartment. Certainly appreciate them welcoming me in there. But it was definitely a unique experience. That's for sure. So.
All right. So last question for you, since it is, coming up on a particular holiday tomorrow. Question of the day here on a Wall Pass Wednesday. Thanksgiving traditions. What is Thanksgiving like at the Butler household? Is there a dish that is indigenous to the Butler celebration that is not necessarily found in other places? What is Thanksgiving like for the Butler clan?
We're kind of boring. Nothing. I don't think there's anything particularly different, to be honest. When I was living, like my mom would always she would always do like the Irish breakfast to start the day.
Mm-hmm.
So you get that early, and then then you take a nap from that, right? Like you're tired from all that, and then and then the turkey and everything else comes after that. So I can't. I wish I could offer more in terms of like a unique dish or a special dish. It's your usual, like it's your turkey and mashed potatoes and stuffing and the rolls and all that. So.
Okay. Well, if you would please, sir, enjoy your Thanksgiving and have a good holiday, and enjoy the match of the Colonials and the Monarchy on Friday. And we will catch up with you again this time next week. Dylan, as always, thanks for coming on with us every single week where there is strangely something going on in the world that's not just the international competition. Thanks for hanging out with us. And
I will say, John, sorry, just to cut you off, because this was pretty cool. I want folks to check this out if they get an opportunity.
Yes, please plug. Yes.
It should be later today, I think, but I was able to catch up with a couple of the players from the 2010 team that played England in that famous 1-1 draw. So spoke with Benny Feilhaber, and I spoke with Ricardo Clark.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some cool quotes in there from Clint Dempsey and Rob Green as well. Just again, going back to that moment and that day and that build up to it. So that'll be on MLSsoccer.com, I think, later on today. I think when I finished writing it, like at 12:30 last night, it was somewhere near 1,500 words. So, but I think it was a fun write, and I hope that it's an entertaining read. So,
cool. All right.
Following you up as well. Certainly happy Thanksgiving to you and your family as well. And to all the viewers and listeners as well.
All right. So update me really quick. Where are you in high school?
Football season is largely done.
Okay.
So had our championship triple header on Saturday. So that was from like 10:30 a.m. until about 8 o'clock straight, pretty much on air. So we go now to prepping for basketball, which is a lot easier to prepare for because there's only 5 guys on the court as opposed to 22 on the field. So I do have I think next Wednesday, like their Senior Bowl, like their all-star type of game. So I do have at least one more football game to go, but yeah, we're heading inside, coming up soon for some hoops.
Transitioning to the winter sports, as always, Dylan_Butler on the Twitters. Thanks for hanging out with us. Please enjoy your holiday. Go to MLSsoccer.com. Read his stuff, OSDB Sports as well. Dylan, get out of here. Enjoy your family.
All right, buddy. See ya.
Dylan Butler.